Hi, I'm Louise from Husqvarna Viking UK, and we thought it would be a nice thing to show you the difference between the mySewnet machines in the Husqvarna Viking range. So I've got the three of them behind me. So ranging from the Sapphire 85, brand new Designer Ruby 90, and the Designer Epic 2, the top of the range machine. So I'm going to start with common features. I don't want to spend too long on that because obviously it's the differences that you want to know about. But all of these machines have Wi-Fi and they work with mySewnet. They auto update over the Wi-Fi. They have the mySewnet cloud, the apps, the blog, direct access to the library, and complementary software is included for all our machines, but these all have 3 months mySewnet Silver free. So also all have the Joy of Sewing Advisor in common. You'll see all these screens look pretty similar. And we've all got the sensor system that you'll probably be familiar with of other machines, where you've just got the push button to either drop the foot, raise it, you've got the pivot function, and it automatically senses the thickness of the fabric under the foot. They've all got electronic self-adjusting thread tension and the deluxe stitch system as well, so you can choose either conventional tension with the tension discs that clamp together, or the roller system where it feeds a set amount of thread dependent on the thickness of the fabric underneath the foot. So that's really good for things like metallic or speciality threads. Invisible thread is a good one that it really helps with. They all do side motion sewing, so they'll do 4-way and 8-way sewing as well as the omni motion stitches, and they've got 3 free motion modes. So you've got the sprung free motion, floating free motion, and also the setting for the ruler foot for using rulers. They have a straight stitch plate with a sensor. This machine's got the straight stitch plate on, so if I go in and choose a zigzag stitch it won't let me because it knows that's a really daft idea. They've also all got a separate bobbin winder motor, so you can sew and embroider at the same time as winding a bobbin. The two don't interfere with one another. There's top and bottom thread sensors, so it'll let you know if your top thread runs out or breaks, or your bobbin runs out. And they've all got the same piercing power. They really will go through quite a thickness of material. I've just done 16 layers of denim with it, for instance. We've got automatic feed dog drop for free motion and for embroidery. The stitches are actually displayed actual size on the screen, so if I go into here and we'll just pick any old stitch, doesn't really matter, that's a triple zigzag, you can see that comes up actual size on the screen, so you can see exactly what you're going to get. They're all multifunction foot control compatible, and they've all got a stitch speed of 1000 stitches per minute. They'll read multi-formats of designs, not just Husqvarna Viking ones, so VP3, VP4, but also other makes of design as well. So if somebody is transferring from a different make of machine to ours, they don't necessarily have to convert all their embroidery files, which is really useful. You can manipulate your embroidery designs on the screen. You can select, scale, resize, rotate, group them, colour sort them, edit, combine them, all sorts of things on the screen. So really very easy to use and very intuitive. We've got design positioning, the full design positioning, which I think is absolutely brilliant because there's nothing better than actually doing it with the needle, nothing more precise anyway, including you can also use the app to take a picture of your hooped up fabric and put that as the background on your screen, so you can do your design positioning looking at your actual hoop. We've also got design shaping and applique, so you can do your own basic applique shapes without having to use digitizing software, and you can arrange designs in shapes, multiple small designs, to make up your own embroidery designs from them really. They were all based in the hoop. They'll either do it round the hoop or round the design, and they all have the smart save function. So if you have a power cut, or the machine stops unexpectedly, or even if you just want to pack up for the night and come back to it in the morning, you can smart save and it will remember where you were, and that's just accessible from the home screen at the bottom here. There's a little heart with the circular arrow that will load up the last smart save from the machine. It will also do that not just in embroidery mode, but in embroidery edit mode and in sewing mode as well, which is different to some of our previous machines. So let's have a look at the differences that we've got between the three machines that we have here, which are the Sapphire 85, the Ruby 90, brand new machine, and the Epic 2. So if we look at the Sapphire 85 first, we've got an 8-inch screen. It's quite large, perfectly big enough. You've got a 250mm sewing area, which is just under 10 inches, a manual needle threader. There's 680 stitches in the machine, and if you lift the lid, there's a representative selection of them there. And you've got 5 programmable sewing fonts. You've got 7mm stitch width with 29 needle positions. The interchangeable dual feed, otherwise known as a walking foot, is included, and you've got 5 exclusive stitch techniques to Husqvarna Viking, and that's the pop-up, applique, yarn, sequin and theme stitches. There's 3 hoops included. The largest is 360 by 200. I'll show you that. Here we go. So that's the 360 by 200 hoop, and you've got 8 multi-size embroidery fonts. So all the fonts come in different sizes. Some have 2 and some have 3 sizes, and adjustable LED lighting. So this is its brightest. You can turn that right down in the settings menu. So moving on to the Designer Ruby 90, you can see immediately this is much bigger. So we've got 310mm of sewing space here, as opposed to the 250 on this machine. So that's 12.2 inches in old money. And you've also got a higher space here than you have on this one. I don't know if you can tell the difference. I mean, obviously the machine's much higher, but this gap is bigger. This is 5.5 inches, and even the space under the head is taller. So you've got, look how well my hand goes in that one, and you can see the difference. I've obviously got this big gap here that I didn't have on that side. So there's much more space to get your projects in, but also to get your hands in, to change feet, to change needles, that sort of thing. Much easier to get at. We've got a fully automatic needle threader, and I am going to show you this because it never fails to excite me. This is like the best thing ever. So we've got a cone on the top there. I'll come to that in a minute, but we've just threaded that as normal. It goes to the guide at the top of the needle, and then through these 2 little bits here, and the thread cutter. All we do is we press a button and the needle's threaded. So we've gone from a manual threader on this machine to a fully automatic one on this machine. Hoop wise, we've gone up from the largest hoop being 360 by 200 to 360 by 260. So I've got the one from the Sapphire 85 at the back, and this is the one from the Ruby 90 on the front, so you can see how much extra space you've got to embroider in. All of these machines will take the majestic hoop, so there's no difference between them as far as that's concerned. You can still put the turntable hoop on. In terms of stitches, there are 817 stitches in this machine. That is over 130 more than the Sapphire 85. We've also got over 90 more embroidery designs in this machine than we have on the Sapphire 85 with the update. So you know, you're getting more stitches, more designs as you go up. This one is also ribbon embroidery attachment compatible, so you can actually do ribbon embroidery designs with this unit here. If I open up that box, you can see what it looks like. Because this has the extra space under the arm and under the head, it can take this. This is too small a machine to take this device, so that's why it's not supported on the Sapphire 85. Okay, we've also got bigger bobbins. So if we open this up and I show you this takes the Epic Blue bobbins. These take 30% more thread than our standard Husqvarna Viking bobbin that we would use in the Sapphire 85. So you can sew for longer, or you can embroider for longer without having to change your bobbin. We can obviously compare the lighting. The Sapphire obviously has lighting here and either side of the needle there. Again, we've got lighting either side of the needle, and we've got lighting all the way around here. It's all LED lit. There are no dark spots on here at all, and it's adjustable, so you can actually take the intensity right down. That's just a button on the front of the machine, so I can start to take that down. You can see the difference. That's as low as it goes, so you can set that wherever you're comfortable with it. There we go, back up to full lighting again. We've also got the telescopic thread guide and the upright spool pins, so for the first time we can actually put a comb straight on our machine without an extra accessory. On the Sapphire 85 we actually have a single spool cone holder which fits on the spare spool pin, the second spool pin there, but we don't need to do that with this machine. We can put them straight on the top. If it's a cross wound spool, that's fine. If you happen to have a straight wound, which I'm just looking for, here it is. So for instance, if you've got a spool like this, this is Madeira rayon thread, and it's a straight wound spool, so it needs to come off the side. We can actually lay down the spool pin, take that off, we can lay that down and actually put the spool on flat, so that we can bring it through the telescopic thread guide and pull the thread off the correct way. So both machines, in fact all three machines, will take the out spool thread rack on the back as well if you want to put several embroidery threads on there, so that's not a problem. That's equal for each of the machines. We've also got an extended stitch plate on this machine. It's wider than it is on here, so if you use a magnetic guide or you want to use the measurements on there, then you can obviously measure further out than you could before. And we've got two USB ports on the end here because we also use them for things like the multifunction foot control. So the multifunction foot control will go on any of these machines, but yeah, we need to have the USB port for it. So that's the Ruby 90 as against the Sapphire 85. So main differences between the Epic 2 and the Ruby 90. We've got the same screen, we've got the same sewing area, it's the same body of machine, so it has the same hoop sizes and everything else. But what it has got is integrated dual feed. So there is no putting an interchangeable dual feed foot on here with a screwdriver. All you need to do is pull that feed mechanism down at the back and you're ready to go. It's also 9mm stitch width where the other two were 7, and we've also got the laser on this machine. So if I just let it go into, there we go, and I put the laser on, I don't know if you can see there. Now I can move that laser around and I can use that as a sewing guide. There are actually a set of particular stitches that have been brought out for this called the laser pictogram stitches, and that brings the stitch count on this machine up to 844. Wow. We've got 37 needle positions because it's a 9mm stitch width machine, and we've got over 100 more embroidery designs in compared to the Ruby 90 even, and that includes ribbon embroidery designs as well. So this really is the Rolls Royce, if you like, of our machines. So hopefully that has helped you work out what the differences are between the machines and what you might like to go for.